The Rhode Island House is set to vote on Governor McKee's 2025 budget, sending millions of dollars to housing, education, infrastructure, and more. But one group says they are being left out of the picture at the cost of millions of dollars in state revenue. ABC 6 News reporter Josh Kerman spoke with local leaders in the arts about just how close they are getting to their final curtain.
No section of the country made it out of the pandemic unscathed, but while other areas were able to refocus and rework, theaters and artistic groups were forced to close their doors. As pandemic-era funding runs out, local leaders are ringing alarm bells.
18,000 jobs, $34 million a year in state tax revenue, and $2.4 billion in economic impact. We came up with our own proposal. The coalition came together, and based on what was done in other states, we proposed the Rhode Island Creative Futures Fund.
The fund would send around $18 million in rescue plan funding to art groups across the Ocean State. It was introduced back in March and held for further discussion in April. But Beauchene says they haven't gotten a clear reason why.
All along we've felt that there was a shot because it makes sense. I run a business. It's a nonprofit, but it's still a business. If one of my employees came to me and said, I need you to spend $18 this year so you don't lose $32 this year and every year after, I would have spent the $18.
The budget has around $1.8 million in arts funding set aside for 2025 for an industry that generates more than $2 billion in revenue year over year.
We do get some contribution from the state. It's $400,000. It's about 10% of our budget. The other 90% we need to make up from other sources.
Evans, the founder of Waterfire, says they've already cut this year's lightings in half as they work back to pre-pandemic levels. And they're at risk of losing the program altogether. How far out are we from something like that?
We're already past that. We're struggling to even produce this year.
The House is still set to vote on the proposed budget, but Beauchene says there's still time to include the Creative Futures Fund or allocate other ARPA funding to the programs.
Right now is 100% caused by the COVID-19 pandemic because the arts were chronically underfunded before the pandemic, and we weren't going to the state with this kind of public plea.
In Providence, Josh Kerman, ABC 6 News.
Now, we did reach out to the bill's sponsor for comments, but we have not yet heard anything back. The House floor will consider the 2025 budget at 2:30 this afternoon.